Alright everyone, as promised, I'm going to rank all of the Rocky films, including Creed 2, that just came out this week. So, I've seen all these movies besides Creed 2 more than once, so I just wanted to point that out, that I have seen them more than once besides the second Rocky, or the second Creed, which just came out. So, let's just get on into it. My number 8 would be Rocky 5. I think this is definitely, by far, the worst Rocky movie. I love how this has such an interesting, like, it actually has a really cool, ambitious opening difference between the other Rocky movies, where in this one Rocky is broke. He is completely, he lost all of his money. He has to go back to his old place where he used to live in Philadelphia, and him and Adrian and his son are stuck in this older house where they don't have much money at all because of Polly. And I like that so much. I thought that's such a great premise for this movie, and such a different premise for this movie than to the whole franchise. And I really liked how Rocky's son, Rocky Jr., is resentful towards Rocky because Rocky takes in Tommy Gunn, this guy who is a boxer who Rocky trains. But Rocky Jr. gets mad and doesn't want him, like, he gets jealous that his dad doesn't pay attention to him. And I like that a lot. I think that's great. Where my issues lie with this movie is so much happens that's so random, and I feel like the Tommy Gunn character and the other guy who's leading Tommy Gunn, I think, are bad. Like, it's not the actors, but just I think that the character is so dumb and just, like, he doesn't make any sense the way he is. The way he, like, freaks out and reacts to things, I think is really stupid. So, I really didn't like Tommy Gunn or the I forgot what the term is. The guy that's, like, not his trainer, but he's, like, promoting him. His promoter, I guess. It just really annoys me. I don't like that character at all, and I think that this movie just has a lot of random things that are stupid about it. And Sylvester Stallone himself said in an interview for this movie, like, he made it out of greed. Like, he didn't care. He just wanted to make money, and it shows because he wrote, and he didn't direct this. The guy from the first Rocky, John D. Alverson, directed it, and that's a sad thing that the director of the best one came back to direct the worst one. That's kind of really a shame. So Rocky 5 is definitely my least favorite. Number 7 would, funny enough, be Rocky 3, one that people do enjoy a lot, but I feel like in the whole grand scheme of the Rocky films, this one is pretty forgettable. I like Clubber Lang a lot. I liked that, and I liked Apollo, how he became Rocky's trainer, but it just felt like it was the same kind of thing as the other two movies, but not with enough to make it differentiate from the other ones. And the last fight is just kind of, like, short. Like, there's not much to it. And Clubber Lang is cool, but, like, he's just kind of, all he does is kind of be mean to Rocky. I mean, I like the performance, but he's just kind of mean to Rocky, so he's just kind of forgettable in that way. But I like him more than Tommy Gunn, though. And there's pretty much not anything to talk about with Rocky 3. It's just kind of forgettable, but it's not bad like 5. It's just forgettable. It's just kind of a dud in, like, a list of, like, good movies. So Rocky 3 is definitely my number 7. And my number 6 would be Rocky 4. And it's funny that this is so low because I do love this movie. I think this movie's awesome. I think that the 80s cheese is so good in this movie, so fun. And this is so memorable. This is such a memorable, fun, popcorn movie. I do love a lot of things about it. And I love the fact that, like, they take it to Russia and he fights Ivan Drago, this bulking wall of a man that, like, kills Apollo in his first fight with him. So Rocky has to go and fight him after he killed his friend. I think that's great, and I love the villain. I think Ivan Drago is actually pretty scary. Like, he's effective in this movie. Really like him a lot. I liked how Apollo was killed. It upped the stakes. It was kind of like how Mickey was killed in Rocky 3, but I kind of forget about that in the midst of, like, Rocky 3. It's just kind of like that's the only thing that I could think of besides Clubber Lang in Rocky 3. But Rocky 4, Drago is such a great villain. I really enjoy him a lot. Just the 80s cheese. The soundtrack is fantastic. I love the soundtrack. Every song in Rocky 4 is just my jam. It's so awesome. So I love Rocky 4. And that would be my number 6. And my number 5 would be Rocky 2. And this one is pretty low on the list, surprisingly, because I do love this one. I love how this is a direct continuation to Rocky 1. I loved how they humanized Apollo Creed a little more, even though in 3 and 4 he's way more elaborated on. In this one, I really did like the fact that Apollo Creed is mad because people are calling him a fake now because it seems like he's a fake because of what he did with the fight with Rocky. And, I like how that urges him to bring Rocky back to fight him. And I love the fact that Rocky wins in this one, because in the first one it makes total sense that he loses because this is his first real fight. He makes it that far. He goes the distance. He's just happy with the distance, and he found the love of his life, and he gained more friendships. So I like how in the second one it feels more complete. Even though open-ended in the first one is still fantastic, but the second one and 2 together are really well done. Both of them together work really well. So I really love 2 a lot. It's just kind of lower on my list, so forgive me. But I really do love Rocky 2, despite it being my number 5. And my number 4 would be Rocky Balboa. Now, this one, when I first saw this movie, I was literally choking up, the whole movie. This was just such an effective movie, and it still is rewatching it, but I love the fact that this movie, Sylvester Stallone made a deal with, Talia Shire, who played Adrian, where, they said, she was originally going to be in the movie, but then they thought, what, it's just going to be the same movie again. There's nothing that's going to be any different. There's no stakes. So what they did is they killed her off. They killed off Adrian. She's dead whenever the movie starts. And I love the fact that this movie has such a great emphasis on Rocky. He's still got Paulie in this movie, but he lost Adrian. And, his son is staying away from him, because he didn't want to be in his dad's shadow. And I love how all of this family drama is so well done and so works very well. And just the basic premise of Rocky trying to get over his wife's death and grief is incredible. And she was in 5 movies before this, so you got so much with them together. And, those moments where he goes to all his different places he used to go to with her, in the first movie, the ice rink or the pet shop or his apartment, is all great, and it's really sad and really, really works emotionally. The only issues I have with this movie is Mason Dixon is the antagonist, but he's really forgettable, and it's not the actor's fault. It's just this character is just, there's nothing to say about him. He's just there to have Rocky fight again, and they both fight each other because they're both the best boxers in the world that are alive, so they have to fight each other. And he kind of initiates the fight, or they both get the fight initiated by sportscaster saying these two should fight because these are the most important boxers of the world right now. So Mason Dixon is just kind of forgettable, but I mean, it's not the actor's fault. The actor is totally fine, but it's just I didn't care much about the villain. But I loved everything with Rocky, with his struggle, with him dealing with everything that has come before him in the movies. And whenever he has that final fight where he fights for everything, and whenever he goes to Adrian's grave at the end is great. And whenever he has all these conversations with little Marie, this character that was only seen once in the first Rocky, is back in this movie, and she is great. That actress is awesome. Their friendship is great. It's kind of like Rocky not having a romantic relationship, but having a friendship with a woman who, after Adrian has died, becomes very close to him, and they both have this very nice friendship that is underrated. I really do love them both together in this movie. Rocky and Little Marie, they both have a great chemistry with each other, and how the movie goes on with them becoming good friends. So I really love Rocky Balboa for all those reasons. I think it's one of the best, in terms of emotion, it's one of the best ones. It is really fantastic. The villain's just kind of weak, but besides that, I still love this movie. So Rocky Balboa is my number 4. Now my number 3 would be new entry, Creed 2. Now Creed 2 is one of those movies where it might change how I feel about it later, but I really love this movie. I thought that everything about it was done so well, and if you really want to know my thoughts, check out my review for it, and I've got a spoiler filled review, so I don't really want to repeat myself, but everything about this movie is great. Everything about Adonis Creed evolving, everything about Bianca and Rocky evolving, they're both as important as Adonis is. I think that the villains are great and humanized in this one. They're not boring like Rocky Balboa or Creed. They're humanized and very interesting. I really dug everybody in this movie, and the last couple minutes of this movie are some of the most paid off moments in any of the franchise. Like, I love the ending of this movie. So I really love Creed 2, but I'm not going to say much about it because I don't want to spoil it or repeat myself, really, because I just talked about it in a video right before this. And my number 2 would be Creed, Ryan Coogler's Creed from 2015. The spin-off that nobody asked for, but got incredible praise, and I love Creed. I think it's a great movie, and I think it is really fantastic, and I love how it's a movie that nobody really asked for. It is incredible. I love this movie. I think that this is definitely the second best. I think that everything about this is fantastic. I love how Michael B. Jordan, this, at the time, newcomer, basically, like, in movies, like, I didn't see anything besides this and, like, Fantastic Four, or, like, I didn't see him in anything besides that before that. Maybe he did have other stuff, but I don't remember it, but this newcomer, Michael B. Jordan, is incredible as Adonis Creed. And how this character is written very well, and how this character is struggling with his father being dead and wanting to prove himself to the world and not be in his father's shadow. And he recruits Rocky Balboa to train him. And Rocky Balboa and his mother Marianne are very resentful towards Adonis, like not wanting him to fight, not wanting him to go and die in the ring, maybe like his father did. So I love the fact of the endearment and the endurance that Adonis Creed has, and how he's such a great character, and I love how this is a spin-off movie, but I love this just as much as the other Rocky films. That, to me, blows me away, and how incredible this movie is. And Ryan Coogler is just fantastic. I love Black Panther as well. I haven't seen Fruitvale Station. I want to, but Ryan Coogler is just an incredible director from what I've seen from 2 out of 3 movies that he's made. I love this director. He's great. But I just love this movie. Everything about it works incredibly well. And also, Sylvester Stallone should have won Best Supporting Actor. Just saying. And then my number 1 would be, no surprise to anybody, it would be the first Rocky. Everything about this movie is incredible. I understand why people think this is one of the best movies ever made. I love everything about this movie. I love the characters. I love the story. I love how this is one of the first in the trope of, like, what Rocky is to all these other movies that came after it, where, like, all these other boxing or sports movies where it's the underdog you root for. This is what it basically started as. Like, this is the character you root for. This is the character that they've ripped off so many times in other movies. I love that. I love this character, and I love how Sylvester Stallone is so endearing in this movie. And he is in all the movies, but in this one in particular, he blows me away in how this character is a little slow. He played him as a slow character who lives in a crappy apartment, who wants to go out with this girl Adrian, the shy girl Adrian, and finally gets with her. But every time he gets something happy to happen to him, like, you feel so much for him, you feel so happy for him, because he's the underdog that's going the distance. Like, he makes it to where he's trying to go. And I love how you find him make all these accomplishments in the movie, except win. And I love that too. I love how he doesn't win, because that's a trope that it seems cheap in a lot of aspects in a lot of movies. It's just like, oh, they won, you expected them to win. I love that he didn't win. I love that this character, no matter what, he went the distance, and even though he lost, he was still happy, he was still satisfied, he still got the girl, he got more acquainted with his friends, and even though he lost, like, he didn't care. He went the distance, he made it this far. Despite winning, he still made it that far, so I love that. And the romantic scenes between Rocky and Adrian are so well done and so endearing and so, like, they just make me smile. And all the other conversations that he has with any of the other characters, with Mickey or with Polly, or with any, like, the street characters or Little Marie, like, all these characters are so likable with Rocky, and they all form Rocky to make him what he becomes, and he's just so great. and it really blows me away in how this movie always gets me. Like, it's just such an incredibly well-made movie. Love this one. It's just one of my absolute favorite movies ever. So that's why it's my number one. And it's cliche to say, but yeah, Rocky 1 is my number one favorite of the franchise. So yeah, I really enjoyed talking about all these films in my other reviews. You can check those out if you want to hear more about what I thought about these films. But in this particular franchise, I really do love a majority of them. Rocky 5 is the only one I don't like. Like, it's not the worst thing ever, but it's not good. Rocky 3 is just kind of boring and bad in a lot of ways. Rocky 3, sorry. Rocky 3 isn't bad. It's just kind of, like, forgettable in the long stretch of all the movies. Rocky 5 is bad. But then every other movie besides Rocky 5 I enjoy. Rocky 3 I just thought was okay, but every other one I love after that. Like 4, 2, Rocky Balboa, Creed 2, Creed 1, and Rocky 1. Like, I love those. I think they're all great. So this is a really great franchise, and I love rewatching it again. I'm so glad Creed 2 came out, so it gave me the excuse to talk to them on this channel, or talk about all these movies on my channel. So thank you guys so much for watching. Tell me down below what your ranking of the Creed franchise, or the Rocky and Creed franchise. So thank you guys so much for watching, and take care.